Hello and welcome, I should say, to Barton on the Heath. I have to say that carefully because it's not an easy one to say. You're looking at St Lawrence's Church today. It's a Norman church and it's been a place of worship for about 1,000 years on and off. That's not bad. There is inside some interesting little bits and pieces which I'll come to in a minute. Around the outside you've got some really interesting little gargoyles or stone carvings, whatever you want to call them, and there is one gentleman of interest here, but unfortunately he hasn't got a grave marker, which in my opinion he should have, but he seems to be overlooked. Now his name is Robert Dover. Some of you may know the name, some of you might not know the name. He's the gentleman that invented the Cotswold Games, or as they call them, the Cotswold Olympics. They began in the year 1612 and Robert presided over them for 40 years, so that wasn't bad. Robert himself was an attorney or lawyer or solicitor, whatever you wish to call him. And he was born in Norfolk, but he moved to Saintbury where he practiced, but he didn't practice very often. Apparently he only ever presided over 2 cases, which is rather interesting. And then he moved to Barton on the Heath, and that's where he came up with the idea for the games. And the interesting thing about these games is there's some rather interesting little competitions. One of them was wrestling, one of them was leaping. I presume that means like leapfrogging maybe over each other, or I'm thinking like the long jump, but it doesn't actually say. I have found a book with some of these bits and pieces in, but each one says different, so that was interesting. Pitching the bar, I'm not quite sure what that is, so that's an interesting one. Throwing a sledge, and that's how it is in that is how the reference refers to it. It is throwing a sledge, and it's S-L-A-D-G-E, sledge. I'm sure that's sledge. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that is sledge. The other one was tossing a pike, so I presume that was like tossing a javelin but with a pike, so that's interesting. So that was some of the games. I know it was halted, the games, for the English Civil War of 1642 and didn't begin again until about 1660. It seems to have fallen out of fashion in about 1852, so the Victorian years, but the Victorian years were more sterner, so that's what this sort of thing was above some of them and they didn't see the point of it. Then it fell out of fashion until about 1951 when they began again and continue until this day. Interestingly enough, some of the games today are rather interesting. Well, tug of war obviously it's classic, but the one that I thought was rather interesting was shin kicking. That sounds rather painful to me, and I don't fancy doing that one. I don't know anybody else fancy doing that one, but I do not fancy doing that one. So overall that was an interesting little burial there, and I can't really find anything else of interest other than them, but if I do I will come back to this, so look out for another video if I do find anything interesting. Sorry, this is a voiceover and it's not one of my best again, and I really apologise for that. I am just looking around the outside now. You can see it's an interesting tower. It's instead of what I call like a castle shape with the I can't think what they're called offhand. Well, you know what I mean. It's a castle turret, and this one seems to be sort of flat like a house. 2 sides of a house, so that's interesting. Apparently there's only 2 in the whole of the Cotswolds that's got, well, whole of Gloucestershire I think they said, that's actually got the unusual slanting of the roof. There's some interesting graves. The ones that you're looking here is actually a family section. It started outside here and then it goes in here where you find 4 more, and that is the Bird family. You might recognise the family name Bird because one of the ladies, I think it was Elizabeth Bird, who was part of that family, she had a son called, I can't think of his name. It's Wilberforce. His name was Wilberforce, so you should know is it William Wilberforce? Oh, sorry, I can't think of his name. He's the one that worked for the abolishment of slavery. And forgive me for not thinking about that. I can't think of his name offhand. I think it was William Wilberforce. I'm sure somebody will correct me. Anyway, if I'm wrong. And this is the grave outside here. These were the owners of Barton House. And you can see that actually in the foreground of this picture. It was a lovely little churchyard. It says, look around, you can see the stone carvings. And I do believe I've slipped some in little photos of the carvings in there. So that's interesting. When we go inside, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about inside, but I'll leave that for a minute until we pop inside. So join me again in a minute. Okay, so we're inside now. Things to look out for inside are the beautiful windows, and the light is amazing when they come through. When the light comes through. Sorry, I had to take a breath then. ran out of air. Okay, on the floor of the chalice where I am now, it's some interesting actually funeral brasses. The oldest one belongs to a gentleman called Edmund Marshall Brass. No. That's my own notes, I can't read it, sorry. His name is Edmund Marshall, and it's a 16th century brass on the chalice floor. I can't even read my own notes, it's terrible. And he died, I think it's according to the little plaque on the floor. His wife outlived him by 50 years. And it's interesting because it's only him there, if you see. It's interesting to see the type of clothing that he's got on. I did get as close as I can on that one. I can't believe I did that. I should really put a line between where I'm going on my nose. It's quite funny. Oh dear. saying that. I should just leave you to watch it, because I just can't think at the moment. There is an interesting carving on the archway, which I will look at in a minute. I think I'll leave it here for now, because I don't know what's gone wrong, but my brain seems to have stopped functioning for a minute. Oh, one more thing I will say about Robert Dover. He has 2 burial dates in the register. One is for the 6th of June 1641, and the other one is for 24th of July 1652. Now the second date is the true date of his death. The first one there, I'm presuming, was a mistake, or was somebody with his name, maybe like a grandson or something, but nobody's quite sure about that, and I can't find anything in my research, so I'm going to call it quits now and just let you watch this, because I don't know what's wrong with me today. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously you didn't enjoy the voiceover, that's another matter, but please, if you do like my videos, do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.